Hey guys, Kevin Shaw here, editor-in-chief of Mopar Connection Magazine. We're up here in Portland, Indiana at Moser Engineering headquarters to tour their 110,000 square foot building. We're also putting together something really special for one of our project cars. We're working with Chris Wozniak, who is an active drag racer. He is participating in a lot of drag and drive events, and you might have already seen his 72 Cuda in the magazine over at www.Mopar Connection Magazine. We're doing a lot of prep on that car. We're doing a lot of work on that car, getting him ready for the SICK events. He does SICK Week in February. He does the SICK 66 event that's coming up in October. He's doing Drag Week. He does a whole bunch of this stuff, and we're getting him ready with a brand new Muscle Pak MO875. That is their fabricated 875 or 8 3/4 rear end. It's a really nice piece, and we're going to walk you through how they assemble one of these, and they do it with lightning speed. We're also going to take you around the whole facility, show you what we can, some stuff they don't want to share, which we understand, but everything else we're going to check out, and we're going to show you here in today's episode. Hope you enjoy. All right, Brand, what are we doing today?
We're going to set up this MO 8 3/4 Muscle Pak with this heat and true track and using a 391 motive gear.
Very cool. All right, what are we doing first?
We're going to press these bearings on the pinions.
What's the indicator that it's totally seated?
It's not yet.
It's not yet?
No.
Okay. But once
it'll
you'll see
pop, it'll jump. The driver will kind of jump.
Okay. What kind of turnaround does it take to put together a whole assembly?
No, probably about 2 hours or so.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That fast?
That fast.
From bare housing to end complete?
Probably so. Probably
oh my gosh.
Close to that. Just oiling up the bearings now. Okay, so we have a crush sleeve here. So I have to mock it up first without the crush sleeve so that I'm not crushing it, obviously. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm looking for 15 to 20, which I'm not at, so I need to go a little tighter. That should be.
You said about 15 to 20 inches of resistance. Is that what we're looking at, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Inch-pounds of
drag.
Yeah.
What are those torqued down to?
50 foot-pounds. I gotta put them in the press.
Okay.
And hold it down so I can, because they are left-handed.
Again, we're still mocking up. We're just going to see where the footprint is from the pinion to the ring gear.
So I gotta measure my lash. Lash has to be correct in order to for your pattern to be right.
Right. What do you torque the caps to?
75.
75?
Yep.
Do you split it, or do you just go 75 and...
75.
Okay.
So this is what measures the lash.
Okay.
So you're shooting for 8 to 12 on your lash.
Okay.
And it should add 10 inch-pounds onto your load.
So initially we were at 15 to 20.
Right. And I was at 15, so once I put this on, it should be at 25.
It should be at 25, okay.
After my lash is correct.
And that'll equate for the total drag at the end is 25? Okay.
Yeah, 25, 30.
Okay.
Roughly 19 now.
Okay.
But I have the correct lash. So now I'm going to put both sides in just to add more load.
All right. We got 25. Let's take a look. Very cool. All the way around. All right. So now we're gonna paint the gears. We're gonna look for his pattern. You said you're also checking for noise?
Yeah, like a consistent like knocking or whatever to show that there's imperfections on the gear. But I already deburred this one, so that was probably why it was
okay.
So based on this pattern, the lines on the top, it needs to come down farther in. So I need to I have to add shims to the pinion.
Okay.
Underneath the bearing on the pinion to bring it in, have a better oval than a semicircle, I guess you'd say.
Right, okay. We're gonna add more shims and space that out then.
Yep, I'm gonna shoot for 40 and we'll see what happens.
Okay, what do we got?
This is more what we're looking for.
All right, more of an oval.
This is kind of left over from the last time, but you see the oval in here.
Okay.
So
that's a nice even print then.
Yep.
Okay. And how many shims are we at now?
We're at 44.
We're at 44. Okay.
And it is not the same.
No. It's going to be a process of checking.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now I'm going to put the seal or payback part and put the crush sleeve in.
Right. Now,
one more time.
This has all been mock-up. This is probably your 4th time taking this one apart just to get it right.
Yep.
Okay. All right, we got our crush sleeve. That's going on the pinion. Now, what does it take to actually crush that sleeve?
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah. We use just a regular air impact.
Okay.
Turned all the way up to crush it till it's the right.
Okay. Set it on kill.
Yep.
There you go. Much better.
Yeah, much better.
What's our lash set to?
8 to 12.
8 to 12 is our lash. And we got a good ink print. That's good. Good contact.
So my load is right where I need it to be. Right.
Yeah, you want to show the process.
You did it, guys, at last. You put silicone on both sides of the gasket.
Nice details that they even box in the perch. I mean, it just came out so nice. What a really nice piece. And these are all fabricated in-house with a local powder coater with like a 1 day, 1.5 day, 2 day turnaround. So these guys can crank out a muscle pack really in 2 days, 3 days.
3 to 4 days.
I figure you do this enough, you don't get your fingers pinched in there anymore.
Nope.
And of course, they've got a drain incorporated into the housing at the bottom. Yeah.
I marked the seat of the bearing here
Okay.
so that I can make sure that it's seated. You see this mark here? That
Right.
tells me that it's seated and good to go.
Okay. There it is. All right. So as you guys can see, this is more of a Ford style bearing, and that is just because we are using the 11-inch drums that are in the back over here on the table. In fact, I'll walk over, I'll show you. Here are the backing plates for everything. And these are easily the most common 11-inch drums you'll find ever built by man. I think Ford used it for 30 years. So really easy to find replacement parts, really easy to find replacement bearings. God forbid you smoke a bearing. But yeah, if you do want a Chrysler style green bearing, they do offer it. It's in the catalog. but for our application, we're running with a Ford style bearing. This is all Moser stuff. It's all theirs. They even make them themselves. So everything is, again, under their scrutiny and up to their standards. All right, let's watch Brand hammer in some seals.
I'm going to put these brake cables on.
Low car, tricky.
You want to make sure you do this before you install. So I typically check for engagement. I've got plenty of that.
Hey guys, we've got a new set of carburetor tool hats. These are fantastic tools for a lot of you guys who are looking at getting the most performance out of your carburetors. These 3D printed American made carbon fiber infused hats are super durable. They're designed to take an absolute beating, being thrown across the shop, being beaten on, dropped, you name it, they'll absolutely take it. They've been 3D printed with the Mopar Connection logo on them, and they include this really neat separated top. They also have all these pockets for your tools. They even have little pockets here for smaller tools and for all your jets. These are designed to fit all traditional style carburetors and will even fit your factory Carter style carburetor. And even if you're running fuel injection,
They make a good cover just in case you're working on the engine and you don't want anything falling inside. Of course, you can flip it right over and you can keep all your carburetor tools inside of it, your extra jets, everything you need, maybe even some extra gaskets, so that if you are doing a lot of work on your carburetor, this little guy will be everything you need to take along in the trunk of your car to keep you up and running. If you're interested in one of these, why don't you head over to moparconnectionmagazine.com/shop, where you can find one of these guys for sale, as well as our t-shirts.
Okay, so like I said, we're here in Portland, Indiana at the headquarters for Moser Engineering, and thankfully I was able to steal Jeff Anderson away from his desk. The guy is one of the busiest guys in the automotive aftermarket. It's a real treat to even be here. Thank you for having me up. And Jeff is actually going to take us around the 110,000 square foot?
Yeah, over 100,000 square foot under roof on the campus here. As you pull in, we've got the 2 facilities here. That's on the Moser campus. The part we're going to be touring today is actually kind of the down and dirty side. It's the welding, the cutting, all the fun stuff is for us shop guys.
Fantastic.
None of the real fancy equipment over here. That's at our sister company across the street. But we'll have some fun here today.
Great. Well, thank you very much. We're going to take everyone around on the tour through this lens and really give you a really neat look at how Moser is able to make some incredible high-performance racing product and do it with lightning speed. Again, one of their claims to fame is if you guys are a competitive racer and you have an axle failure, you can hit up Moser and get a pair of axles within 2 days.
Within 1 day.
Within 1 day. Within 1 day.
So our standard operating procedure, anybody that knows Moser, we're a 2-day turnaround on everything we make. So housings and axles, center section, the axles themselves, that is a 2-day turnaround, even if it's custom width, because everything is made from scratch. And that's something that started years ago with Greg Moser. He was a businessman, but he was also a racer. And some would say to a fault, that dictated how we did everything here. So if he had a buddy that broke an axle on a Saturday and he had to be at another track the following weekend, we made sure that happened. So when it comes to that 2-day turnaround, that applies to all of our products, the muscle packs, the housings, the axles, the center sections, as standard procedure. We also offer a 1-day turnaround. It's a little bit more money for that, but for the guy that maybe breaks an axle in Bowling Green and he's got to be at the U.S. Nationals on Monday.
Right.
We can get that axle made Monday morning and have it ready for pickup or deliver it to the track.
Yeah, you got to get bumped to the front of the list.
Exactly.
Obviously, that's priority.
And with the fact that everything we do is a 2-day turnaround, bumping it up an extra 24 hours typically isn't that hard for us.
Okay.
So first thing, when you get to Moser Engineering, when you come through the front doors, you'll see we have a little bit of a showroom here that kind of has some of the history of Moser Engineering, from Greg's Z28 to the Alder that he ran, just some of the history of where we've come from that we always kind of enjoy having here in the lobby. Little display case with Greg's racing suit that he wore back in the day and some of the trophies from over the years, a little bit of videos and stuff like that. But yeah, this is basically where you enter the door. If you come to pick something up, you'll come in, check in at the front window, and typically the girls will get you taken care of and moving. Our sales crew here are some of the friendliest people you'll meet. They're not commission based. That was something that Greg put in place years ago. We're not here to pressure. We're here to educate, help you get what you need, and help you plan for the future if that's applicable. Our guys will take the time with you if you need, or if you're in a hurry, they'll take your order, get you off the phone, and get you on your way. It's up to you when you call us. We are definitely a no pressure. We're here to help. The majority of the guys in here are auto. They grew up in the auto field, and whether it was car shows or drag racing, or we've got some guys that do pulling trucks. We've got guys that play with 4-wheel drives in the sand. It's quite the mix here, but we're pretty well rounded on our sales staff. If one of the guys you're talking to doesn't have the answer, there's somebody in the group that he can talk to that's got experience with with what you're doing.
Very cool. All right, let's check it out.
All right. First area we'll come into will be the sales area. And this is basically the cubicles in here that we'll walk around as we move around the facility. All of our sales calls come in through automated phone system, and then it gets distributed between the sales guys, depending on what they're doing. If they're working on completing an order, whether it's come in online through our website, through one of our dealers, or if it just comes in through the phone system, that all gets handled in these cubicles here. So one thing you'll see when you come into Moser, a lot of times guys will order stuff and they want to do a pickup, or they're dropping off. So this is where this area kind of comes into play. This is our drive-in area, so when somebody drops off a housing, they're wanting narrowed, a lot of times they'll set that up in advance. They'll give us a call and say, hey, I've got a 9-inch housing, I've got an 8 3/4, I need narrowed for a project. Can I bring it up and drop it off? And this is where that would happen. So here we have a housing that came in, 9-inch housing, the guy's wanting it narrowed. So this is, even if it's something that we did not make originally, that we can still work on OEM stuff or either other company stuff. We're here to help you get back on the road and help you basically get to that next car show, get to that next drag race. Whatever it is, you're just getting that project done that's in your garage that your wife's driving you crazy about. This is where all that happens.
We're not going to show it, but what's happening behind the curtain?
So basically, this is our axle splining area.
And no more over there.
You'll see some sparks and stuff. We have some proprietary equipment there that we can't really show on camera. But this area here is where we do the processes that started the company back in the mid-'80s, early '80s. The cut and the splining, even resplining existing axles. If a guy had a set of OEM axles and he's narrowing a rear end, he wanted to reuse them, we're good with that. You don't have to buy our axles. We'll cut and respline them as long as there's enough material there to work with. It's what built this company. But basically this first area here is kind of the bread and butter. It's what we're known for. During busy season, we can pump out 300 pair of axles a day.
Holy cow.
So it's hard to imagine there's that many cars that need axles, but it is crazy. To me, I've been with the company 25 years practically, and it still amazes me how many axles we cut and respline or make new every day. So everything that we make that's a Moser axle is made here in the USA. We work with a local forging company here in Portland, Indiana. As a matter of fact, when you pull into our parking lot, sometimes you can hear the hammers actually running from the Portland Forge, which is less than a mile from us. So we've got such great control over our hammering, our forging. We do all of our own heat treating at our sister facility across the street. So we've got a control that we can access immediately if need be. If we've got a forging that maybe we want to make a modification to, or we want to see them in production, we can jump in the car and literally in 5 minutes be sitting in the parking lot of the forging company that makes our axles. So it's kind of nice. We're unique, but everything that has that Moser logo on it is made here in the USA, and typically right here in Portland, Indiana. The majority of it is made right here in this county. So it's kind of cool. Basically, we do the first churn, and then basically the induction heat treating gets done across the street, and then they come to us like this, and then it's ready for us to do what we need to do with them. But we've got our QC where everything gets inspected here before it heads over to shipping. These are some cores that came in that just went through QC, so they get inspected and then put away over here. And this is where we keep a lot of the cores that we use. So when it comes to forgings, you can't have just one shaft that does everything. So literally, I think we're 50 or 60 different axle forgings that we have. Each one is its own recipe, its own alloy, its own dimensions, whether it's a double spline shaft or a flanged axle or a floater shaft. We do a lot of different varieties of forgings. It's not just for race cars, which is what a lot of people know Moser Engineering for, is drag racing. But we also do a lot of four-wheel drive stuff, a lot of street cruisers. You know, the majority of our business is actually street rods and street cars. So you'll see a lot of our axles at, you know, whether it's an NSRA show or a Good Guy, or even at Cars and Coffee. I mean, a lot of what we do, the major part of the volume, is street applications. It's just because of our background in drag racing and our supporting roles that we play, whether it's in HRA, IHRA, NMCA, and MRA. You know, we support a lot of those races, and even the big bucks races, whether it's the, you know, the Spring Fling Million in Vegas, or the OG Million with the folks. I mean, and even these small money bracket races that we sponsor and help put on and that we race at. You know, we're connected with a lot of the racing side, but our major part of our business is on the street rod side, whether it's a 68 Charger or you know, whatever it is. It's the street rod side of it is our core business. So we've never had an issue with inventory, and that was something that Greg believed in when he was here years ago. He said, I don't want to run out of anything. So we're not a just-in-time inventory company. We literally have plenty of inventory on the shelves. When COVID hit, it never affected us one bit. I mean, the only thing that we ever had trouble with was kind of some of the basic stuff that just isn't made. I mean, you look at axle bearings. You know, we don't make axle bearings. We have to rely on other companies for those. And that was typically where we've seen some of the hiccups, some of the gear ratios that are made by some of the gear suppliers. On occasion, we would run out of a gear ratio, and that still happens to this day. But anything that we could control ourselves, we made a point to do so. And you know, everything that's got a Moser logo on it is made here. It's made by us. If it's the cases, they're our cases. The aluminum cases, we make those and do the machining across the street. Our spools, our C-clip eliminator blocks, everything that we can make, we try to make ourselves. Here's a good example of some product that's waiting to go through QC that came in from across the street. So, you know, our nodular cases. Now this is a 9-inch, but yeah, I mean, just everything that we do that we can control, we try to maintain that control. So anything that we can control and keep here in the U.S., we try to do that. And one of the things that everybody's kind of seen here recently, at the first of the year, we purchased the assets of Gear FX and John's Industries from Holly. And it was one of those opportunities that came along. It gave us the opportunity to make sure that the 9-inch housing production stayed here in the U.S. You know, we bought all the dies, everything, just to make sure that those 9-inch housings and the 8 3/4 Mopar housings that we started remanufacturing, we wanted to make sure that those could all stay here and we could maintain control and not have to rely on an importer and a slow boat from China. You know, it's just part of who we are, and we don't take that lightly as far as keeping stuff made here in the U.S. It's something we believe in, and we put our money where our mouth is. So basically, we've moved out of the inventory area for the axle cores. We're looking at, basically, this is our shipping, and another part of our shipping and receiving. So everything that ships out of here gets staged here. And it's also where we warehouse all of our inventory for the products that we use in our muscle packs, our complete rear ends, whether it's gears, posies, bearings, Willwood brake kits, just everything that we use in the assembly of a complete rear end is back here in the warehouse. And we'll get back to it as we walk through. But basically our shop guys are here from 6 to 2, so they come in a little bit earlier than our sales staff. They're here at 6 a.m. putting stuff together, assembling stuff, getting things ready, and then they'll start doing the boxing. They just started doing boxing here, and then we'll have it pick up. Usually we have a semi and a couple box trucks that pick up at the end of the day to get everything out. But that all happens here in this area. And then as we get back here, you'll start seeing where we store all the inventory that I was talking about earlier. All of our spools. This area here is going to be spools, posies, So from a Mopar side, so this is like a Dana 60, 35 spline. This is a 4 Series carrier, but yeah, again, made across the street, and made by Moser here in the U.S. You know, we carry a full inventory of Eaton, Autotech, Auburn, Pozzies. I mean, we carry whatever the customer wants. You know, we have what we suggest. But even then, sometimes customers want a certain brand, a certain type of posi, and we'll work with them to make sure that we stock exactly what they need, so that when they place that order, it's available to ship, you know, in 2 business days. So to do that, you've got to carry a large inventory, and we'll see that even on the next style when we talk about ring and pinions. We stock a ton of ring and pinions. We want to make sure that the customer gets exactly what they want, and that we still meet that 2-day turnaround that we talk about. There's a reason we can do it. And you look at the inventory, you know, it's hard to imagine, you know, but I mean, how much money you,
Yes.
I mean, you've got Willwood on both sides. We stock everything. So it's, we're really keeping an eye out on consumer needs, and that timeliness that it takes to be successful in this business, in this industry. But to do it, you know, theory into practice, it takes quite a commitment, and that's something that ownership here has really stepped up to the plate, you know, decades ago, and figured it out, and it's what sets us apart. And like I said, I've been doing this for almost 25 years here, and it still never fails to kind of, sometimes it'll kind of click with you that we do some fun stuff here.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
part of that is the Moser family, our big drag racers, and they love to be at the track whenever time permits. And this is just a few of the cars. We've got a whole stable of cars that run around the country, from the Cummins family to the Bogackies, who race. You know, even out on the West Coast, Justin Lamb does a lot of racing, and we've got you know, the Danny Waters on the east side. I mean, we've got a lot of racers. The Tedesco, you know, Mia and her crew, and so there's a lot of Moser cars. If you go to a drag strip, you'll see a lot of cars, a lot of times that have Moser logos on them. And the majority of those cars are either doing long-term tests with us, as far as product that we're bringing to market or we've revised, or if they're just doing durability testing, where we put a center section in there and we say run it until it starts making noise, you know, and we'll see how many runs we can get out of the center section under heavy race conditions. But we take it serious when we talk about how we race and use our own products. And a lot of the stuff, you know, Rob Moser, when we came out with our brakes, the Moser race brakes, he tested those for over 2 years before we ever sold the first pair to the public. So, you know, he did all the dirty work, put his own life, you know, on the line to test those products before we'd ever sell them. So you know, it's something that we believe in, and you know, the made in the USA, making sure a product is safe when we bring it to market. You know, we're not just grabbing something off a boat from China and throwing it out there and saying, here, try this. We're testing everything. One of our guys that everybody seems to know is Rocky Vando, and he's got the old Vega wagon here that everybody, I'm sure, that follows racing and sportsman racing around the country. It's a wagon. It's fun to watch.
We might be a Mopar magazine, but if you can't appreciate
A Vega.
just badass race cars, you're not a car guy. I don't care. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. We actually had Max Moser, who's third generation Moser family. He actually was in Martin, Michigan here recently and won a race in his dragster. And it turns out that is the same facility there at Martin where his brother won his first race and his dad won his first race. So all three of them, Rob Moser, Justin Moser, and Max all won their first race at the same facility.
That's cool.
Which is pretty cool. Yep. This is Max Moser's dragster, and then Rocky the Anote that I was talking about, this is his son's junior dragster.
Oh,
so
gosh.
you start him young. But Lane actually won a race here recently in IHRA, and he'll be competing in Mississippi this fall for a national championship.
That's
so
cool.
By winning that race, he qualified, and hopefully we'll have some good news to share come this fall. Basically, we're in the Weld Shop. In this area, we have 3 stations, and a lot of times we'll do stuff in advance. So especially as we get closer to busy season at the beginning of the year, we'll do up some Dana 60s, some 12 bolts, and get them on the shelf with some stock length tubes, so that if we get somebody that needs something custom and they need it tomorrow, we've already got everything kind of halfway together. We can cut them to length, put the ends on, and set them up and get them out the door. So we do pre-stage a lot of stuff just for those rush jobs that we get sometimes.
Okay.
But yeah, our guys in here, a lot of our guys in the Weld Shop have literally been here for longer. I've been here 25, and some of these guys have been here longer than I have. So we've got a lot of history, a lot of knowledge that's in our Weld Shop. But yeah, basically they just do all the custom projects happening here.
Very cool. Look at all this. Well, again, it makes sense, whether it's stock length or it's a custom length, it's all tooled up so that you can chuck it up on the lathe. And
yep. So we have our 12 bolt castings that we make that are our core boxes, our designs. The Dana 60s are ours, and we even recently, a few years back, we started making the 8.8 rears. Started remaking those because Ford stopped making them. So whenever we see a need in the industry, with like the 8.8, you couldn't find them in the wrecking yards. They were getting harder and harder to find. And just like the 12 bolts that we started remaking, we had to do something because the enthusiast side of the industry was looking for them. And then there's still some small volume OEMs that we work with that also use the 8.8s and the 12 bolts. And so there's still a market out there, and we just try to fill it when necessary and try to keep it made here in the U.S.
all right.
Race car side of the shop.
Okay.
So when you see the dragsters in back, a lot of times these are where those are getting made, the cans that go with that, the fabricated dragster cans. We work with a lot of different chassis builders on the racing side. So a lot of the chassis builders have their own brackets that they want us to use. So basically we make the cans up. We have a CAD CAM design of their brackets, and we cut them out and weld them on the housings here. That's where a lot of this happens, is on this side over here.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. We really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, why don't you give it a like, leave a thumbs up, maybe even leave a comment, tell us what you thought. Also, if you want more awesome Mopar content, number one, why don't you hit the subscribe button right there below? And if you haven't already, why don't you head over to www.Mopar Connection Magazine and sign up for the newsletter, where we publish new articles every single day, Monday through Friday, entirely subscription free to you. We'll see you there.